Hey, it's Dark Guardsman. So last video I kind of did a quick update and showed kind of working on the block logger mod. I want to work on that a little bit more and show that off a little bit more in this video, as I did spend more time on it. Got the databases working a little bit nicer than what I was showing off in the video, and it is kind of getting to the point where it's almost ready to put on the server. So we'll show off a few more of the features. And the whole reason about doing this as well is I'm still behind on doing the other videos and getting content out, so we got something to work on here. Anyways, so we now have more than just a couple tables now. We have the block break, place, entity, interaction, and we have a users table. So user table does actually store the users now. So while I was talking about using foreign keys to kind of track various things, I don't think I'm going to do that for the block locations just because there's so many of them, it would just clutter up the table. But I did end up doing this for the player table and everything else. So I'm going to show this off in a bit. First though, I want to go ahead and dump all the tables to show off one of the cooler features with this. I don't think I got a chance to really talk about much. Is the fact that the system can rebuild the table. So if you ever want to just clean your database out and then just reload the mod, say for example it was taking up too much space, or you took a backup and just want to dump it so that way you have a fresh thing, or for example you update to a newer version and you don't want to go through the process of updating your old tables to match the newer data table system, which could happen at some point in time. That's why I'm kind of hesitant to release it, is I want to get everything set up first and then release it so I don't have to go through and retroactively update tables. Because even if the newer versions, for like say if you went from 1.7 to 1.12, the information shouldn't change too much to warrant having to reset everything. Anyways, I'll go ahead and do this. So the server will not actually do anything until you actually do load a world. So if you're in single player, this will actually work in single player. I don't really plan to change that because, oh well, you want to log stuff in single player, it's an okay thing. Or you want to run a LAN server and have a block logging plugin. I don't even understand why you would go through that effort, but it would be available. It also means I don't have to work as hard to test this. So this will actually do what it's do. So it did launch. We didn't get any errors back here. It actually will tell us that it has created the table. So failed to find, then created a table for us. If we go back over here, all of our tables are now created. And we actually have stuff. And already, before we even got a chance to do anything, we already have stuff that died. So the death table does work. It does track things. I am going to anticipate this table would probably fill up on its own pretty quickly because you're going to have a lot of deaths near players and everything else. So likely what I'm going to end up doing is adding features to just negate certain death types. Like for example, if you have a normal entity that died from, like for example, lava damage or something, I'm just going to ignore it. With some exceptions. If you have like sheep or something or cows and they die from lava, I'm probably going to log it simply because you may want to track what's going on. These will be customizable via configs when I get around to it. Right now I'm just going to let it exist, and then I'm just going to add some kind of system in the future to do stuff. But it does actually do what it wants to do. So let's go back up. So I'm going to track block breaks really quick and look at this and kind of show off kind of how the user table works. So the system still does track just as it did normally. The only difference is instead of injecting the username and UUID into the table every time a player does something, it now injects an ID. I can then click the ID inside this table system and go here. This is the player. This is user ID. The cool thing with doing this is I can then recycle this user table in another mod and actually start tracking other information. Say I want to track how many items a player has crafted in order to do like some kind of event. Say we had a server running and we had some kind of mini game going on, like the person who can get the most diamonds in a week wins some kind of reward. I could then use this table to track how many items have been crafted, then just go into the database and go, okay, starting from this point to the next point, I can go how many diamonds did this player get his hands on, and then I could just do it that way. Or I could do some other inventive way, because of course there would probably be better ways to do that than just tracking how many diamonds a player picks up or crafts or mines or whatever. But the thing is, the system is there, it is usable, and it does actually work. So we can actually go around, we can do all kinds of things like breaking blocks, destroying stuff, placing chests, we can replace blocks, and it will actually track what is going on. So if we go back up here, and let us go to block breaks. So it does track the block breaks. I think we broke the... Did we break the chest? I'm pretty sure we did break the chest. Let's see if I make sure it logs. This is threaded, by the way. Is actually performance is a little bit better on the thread than it was last time. There we go. It tracked a break of the chest. Should track all the placements. Working really well. I did fix a few issues with this one. It was not tracking the previous block properly, which just took a little bit of effort to figure out how to get it to working. The events kind of store 3 blocks when it does it. It stores the placed block, the current block, which happens to just be the placed block anyways. I think you can switch the blocks maybe, I don't know. The placed against block, and then if you want the previous block, you then have to access the snapshot and then touch it, and then get it and bring it back into the system. Entity deaths work, interactions work. Still kind of figuring out how we want to track interactions in the future, but it is working pretty well. Eventually we're going to probably replace the item handling with its own data table as well, so instead of it just being player, you'll have an item tracking system as well, so you'll be able to track like the kind of item. So it'll go, hey, this is a stone shovel, and you would have an entry for a stone shovel. That way it's a little bit easier to work with, same with the blocks and everything else. So I'll be working on that for the system. It does work, it is nice. And the cool thing about this, even though we haven't put the new system up on the server yet, the old system has actually paid off. We've actually had 2 incidents now of people breaking blocks that we had to track down. Neither person got banned for it because it was just minor stuff. One guy killed a sentry gun, the other guy broke somebody else's machine by mistake. And both issues were resolved, but they were tracked. We could track down exactly what happened. We could track down the user's path all the way up to there to see what happened, how they got there, and what went on, and could confirm things like they said. They wandered up through somebody's mine shaft and broke it, or they went through the nether portal and ran into a sentry gun and had to kill it so it didn't kill them. Makes sense. But we can actually see that. We can see their transitions, everything else. Speaking of which, we're going to be adding teleportation events to this. I'm probably going to add a way to track the exact position of a player per tick. We'll have to look into how we're going to do that one, because that data would be pretty heavy. And of course, when I get around to it, we'll add a way to automatically cycle data over and dump it out of the system. I'm going to have to definitely look into that one. That one maybe have to handled outside of Minecraft, because there are ways with a MySQL database that you can automate certain tasks. So you can automate backing up your database, you can automate cleaning the databases out, you can automate various things and everything else. Anyways, I'll see you guys later with more content and features.